What's good, y'all? So when I was first coming in here to record this video, I was thinking all I was gonna have to do was talk about Kristaps Porzingis being traded to the Celtics, the Wizards, continuing their rebuild and stuff like that. And then I got the notification that Chris Paul was traded to the Warriors for Jordan Poole. I already made a video talking about the Bradley Beal trade. If you guys missed that, link in the description. It's on my channel right now. Make sure you go check that one out. I guess in this video, we're going to be breaking down the other two trades that the Wizards made. And in my opinion, honestly, so far, the Wizards are having a pretty good offseason. Before we talk about the new trades, though, with Chris Paul finding his new home, it makes the Phoenix trade officially done. So we got announced what draft picks and draft capital the Wizards will be getting from the Bradley Beal trade. So I'm going to put it up on the screen right now so you guys can see. I'm not going to list out each individual year, but it is 6 second-round picks and 4 first-round pick swaps going from Phoenix to Washington. So Phoenix is pretty much bone dry now in draft capital, but the Wizards, they got a little bit of something, I guess. And since we're talking about it already, we might as well start off with the Chris Paul-Jordan Poole trade. Of course, Chris Paul going to the Warriors and the Wizards getting Jordan Poole along with a protected 2030 first-round pick. We don't know the exact protections on that yet. And then also a 2027 second-round pick. Starting off with the Wizards side of this trade, I really like this trade for them. Getting Jordan Poole here can kind of let him grow into the first number one option that he has shown flashes of in Golden State, shown that he can make his own shots, take his own shots, deep threes, mid-range floaters, getting to the basket with the fancy lays and different things like that. He shows that he has the full offensive package. It was just kind of, I feel like he didn't really get fully in motion with Golden State as they're trying to win a championship, not letting him, work through a bunch of different stuff. His first year when he was a rookie, that was when they were really, really bad, so he was allowed to kind of just go through these mistakes. Now over here in Washington, he's going to have way more leeway to just play and hoop and become his own player, which I think is going to be fantastic for him. And in my video talking about the Bradley Beal trade, one of my biggest gripes about the trade was they got no real player back. I'm putting real player in quotation marks. When I say that, I mean no one that they can really look at and be like, all right, you could be a staple in our team and moving forward and stuff like that. Now that they swap out that Chris Paul name for the Jordan Poole, he is a young player that I can see flourishing into his own. Like I said, he has way less responsibility and pressure to be good right this instant. He can kind of just work through it slowly at his own pace and become his own player. And I think can be a player that the Wizards have on their roster when they are trying to compete. And then on top of that, they got draft capital back in this as well. An actual first-round pick since they didn't get any real first-round picks from the Bradley Beal trade. Of course, just the swaps and the seconds. This 2030 pick from the Warriors, I just got the notification on my phone while I was recording. It is top 20 protected, so, very heavily protected. They probably won't be getting that pick in 2030. I expect the Warriors to be, a lottery team by then. So I don't know what that conveys to and different things like that. But they at least got some type of capital along with that second-round pick in 2027. That could be more of a, higher second-round pick. And then for the Warriors, they finally put their foot down. They're done with the, trying to compete while also trying to build for their future with the young guys. They are done with that. They cut that out. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I remember seeing something that Jonathan Kuminga requested a trade or wanted to see a better role or something. There was some type of disgruntlement with that with Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors. So I wouldn't be too surprised if in this next few days or maybe even tonight on draft night when I'm recording this, he gets traded to another team, to kind of grow and the Warriors get more of just solidified veteran role players that they know can help win them games. Right now, maybe not in the next few years, but right now they can help you win games. That's been their story of success throughout their whole dynasty. They're trying to keep it going. I know Draymond, he declined his player option. He's trying to get a long-term deal. Still got Clay, still got Steph. Now they add Chris Paul to that, another veteran role player. I guess at this point, he's going to be coming off the bench for the Warriors. It feels wrong calling Chris Paul a role player. I can see him running out there with the second unit where there's not, you don't have a Steph Curry or a Draymond Green out there to be orchestrating offense and having that gravity going around the court, where Chris Paul just goes out there and just directs traffic. The Warriors are a great play team, where they call plays, run plays, different things like that. They're very good at that. So I can see Chris Paul just bringing up the ball, like, all right, yo, go over here, come set this down screen, we're going around, like different things like that. I could see him fitting in perfectly. The Warriors system is very intricate. You have to be a smart player to flourish in this. Chris Paul is one of the smartest players in the league history, honestly, if you want to be like that. I think he's going to be a fantastic fit. And then one more just little nugget I wanted to share on Chris Paul fitting in with the Warriors. A lot of people kind of question his three-point shooting, even though last year he had an incredible bounce-back three-point shooting. On catch-and-shoot threes last season, Chris Paul shot 52%. 52%. He's not going to be dribble, pull-up three like he was in Phoenix for some possessions. They have Steph Curry. They have Klay Thompson. They got I almost said Jordan Poole. They got Andrew Wiggins. They have other guys that can really create their own offense and stuff like that. Chris Paul, I could see him really, when he's playing on the floor with Steph, kind of maybe playing that Draymond Green role of like the playmaking and stuff like that, off ball for Steph. But then also I could see him kind of just being off ball, making, connective passes and stuff like that with the Warriors, ball moving, catch and shoot threes. I think he's going to fit perfectly. And now for grades, I'm going to group this for the Wizards with the Bradley Beal trade, since it's pretty much a 3-team trade. Officially it wasn't, but it's a 3-team trade, let's be honest. And I kind of hinted at it before when I was breaking down this trade. I'm moving up their B+ Bradley Beal grade up to an A-, very slightly, but I do want to put it in that A range. I think it was a great trade. They got Bradley Beal off the books. They got a nice, promising young star. I'm using star loosely right there. Don't hold it against me. They got draft capital and stuff like that. I think it was a very good trade. While their hands were tied, they made the best with what they got. And then for the Warriors, I'm going to give it a C+. Obviously, I think Chris Paul is going to be able to come to the Warriors and impact them in a positive way, help them win basketball games, and hopefully win championships for them. But at the same time, I think they sold Jordan Poole super low coming off an atrocious playoff run. The regular season, he had a little bit of a slump compared to last year as well. So they're selling him super low, and as you see, all they get back is Chris Paul, and they actually have to attach draft picks onto Jordan Poole's contract for a tanking Wizards team to take him on. I wish they would have held on to him till at least maybe the deadline, help him build some of his value back up and maybe get more of an impact player. But at the end of the day, you got Chris Paul. You got that situation out of your locker room, with the Draymond Green thing and stuff like that. Not a terrible trade, but I do wish they just built his value up and got a little bit back more from him. And now for the Porzingis trade. Since it is a 3-team trade, I brought back the graphics just to try to make it a little bit easier visually for you guys to see. Right now, the players and draft picks are grouped by which team sent them out. I'm going to list on what team gets what. So the Celtics get Kristaps Porzingis, the 25th overall pick to the draft that is later tonight at the time of my recording, as well as Golden State's top 4 protected pick in 2024. The Grizzlies get Marcus Smart, and the Wizards get Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari, Mike Muscala, and the 35th pick overall in tonight's draft. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing for you guys. If it was and you still don't get it, just go back and look at that graphic. Whatever logo is on the shoulder or right next to the draft pick and next to the player or whatever, that's what team that player or draft pick is going to. Hopefully that simplifies it for you guys. Looking at this trade from Boston's perspective, this is amazing. They have a new big three, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps was a borderline all-star. He was in my honorable mentions for all-stars last season, having one of his best, if not his best, season since he joined the NBA. The Celtics always had a great rotation of bigs with Al Horford and Robert Williams, but one thing that neither of those guys have is size, as they're both like 6'9", 6'10", around there. Kristaps Porzingis is 7'3", so you don't gotta worry about the size anymore. He also brings the stretchability with the shooting that he has, the elite rim protection and shot blocking that he brings. Kind of the best of both worlds between Robert Williams and Al Horford, where he can stay down low, protect the paint, block shots, send stuff out of there, while also not murking up, down low in the dunker spot on the offense. He can spread out, pick and pops, pick and rolls, different things like that. Super versatile player that they're bringing in. And because he is so versatile, he doesn't limit the Celtics to only running one big with him, where Jason Tatum is a power forward. He can also run next to Al Horford or run next to Robert Williams with, like I said, with the shooting. Robert Williams can guard a little bit more on the perimeter. Same thing with Al Horford. He's shown that he can, kind of hold his own on the perimeter like that, while Porzingis is just standing down low, protecting the paint. They have the potential of running an absolutely gigantic lineup of Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, either Al Horford or Robert Williams, realistically, and then Porzingis down low at the 5. The shortest guy on the court is going to be 6'5" Derek White, who plays way bigger than he is. I don't know if many teams have an answer to that lineup. On defense, with all their length and stuff like that, and all those guys are above average defenders. And then on offense, they have the stretchability, the spacing, the ISO scorers, the passing. They have everything in that lineup. Very scary lineup if I'm anyone else in the NBA, especially that Denver Nuggets. I mentioned before how the Phoenix Suns could be kind of building up their length and their size to run big with them. This is another lineup that can really match up well against that Denver Nuggets team. They do lose Marcus Smart, who was their best playmaker. And I really do like Malcolm Brogdon coming off the bench for them as that six-man role. He's more of a score-first guy compared to a pass-first guy. So I think they already got the scoring of Jason Tatum, of Jaylen Brown. Now they got Porzingis in that lineup as well. I think it would be beneficial more if they had more of like an off-ball guy or more just a strict playmaker instead of a score-first like Malcolm Brogdon. So that leads me to think maybe they'll start Derek White at the point guard. Maybe Peyton Pritchard will get more burn now that Marcus Smart's out of there. Maybe they'll sign someone. I'm not too sure what they're going to do with that starting point guard position. In my opinion, though, I think Derek White deserves to start. And then on top of that, they move up 10 spots in tonight's draft. They get a Golden State Warriors pick next year that's very little protected. And they only gave up Marcus Smart. Incredible trade by the Celtics. Now looking at it from the Grizzlies' perspective, they get their Dillon Brooks replacement. I'm putting quotes around there very loosely right here. Basically what I mean by that is they get their new culture, leadership, identity guy with Marcus Smart. That's what he's been for the Celtics since he's got drafted there. His whole time playing there, he's a hustle guy. He'll dive for every loose ball, lock in defensively on whoever the matchup is. The hardest matchup of the night, he will take that with no questions asked. Lead this team by example and do everything. That's what he's going to be able to do for this Grizzlies team. It kind of gets a little bit shaky though because obviously he will be starting in place of Ja for his 25-game suspension. But when Ja comes back, are they going to put him to the bench? Because, you know, they got Desmond Bane running the shooting guard. Obviously, Ja Morant is their star franchise point guard. I mean, they could run a 3-guard lineup of Ja, Desmond, and Marcus Smart. I wouldn't start that lineup, though. You know, Marcus Smart is a bigger guy, only being 6'3". He still is built bigger. He's more like a solid 6'3" instead of like a skinny 6'3". So he could guard those small forwards, even some power forwards, depending on who the matchup is. So I wouldn't be worried about that, but I don't know if you start with that lineup. That's a lot of size giving up right there. Don't get me wrong, though. Either way, if he's starting or coming off the bench, Marcus Smart's going to make them a much better defensive team. Now that Dillon Brooks is gone, they don't really have a point of attack defender, a guy that's going to go out there and guard the Steph Currys of the world, the LeBron James of the world, Jason Tatum, stuff like that. Marcus Smart will take that challenge, and he will succeed on most nights. He also brings the playmaking of Tyus Jones that they're losing out on. It's kind of funny. He's kind of a mix of Tyus Jones and Dillon Brooks, both personality-wise of Dillon Brooks and the defense and stuff like that, while also getting the offensive playmaking of Tyus Jones. Kind of funny. I do think that he makes this Grizzlies team better, but 2 first-round picks better? I don't really know. I don't think so. And finally, looking at it from the Wizards' perspective, the team that this video is really based around, I think this is a phenomenal job. One of the best sign-and trades I ever seen. Off the top of my head, that is. I didn't really look back and try to remember too crazy. But one of the ones that really sticks to my mind is the fact that Miami Heat, they traded Josh Richardson in a sign-and trade for Jimmy Butler. Josh Richardson for Jimmy Butler. And realistically, Kristaps could have just said, nah, I'm not doing a sign-and trade. I'm going to just sign wherever I want. And it could have went like that. The Wizards could have lost him for nothing. But instead, they get Tyus Jones, who I think could make a pretty big jump. Maybe like a Jalen Brunson type jump. Maybe not so steep. But I do think he can go from being the best backup point guard in basketball. Now he has a starting opportunity to just do his thing and be the main ball handler, the main facilitator and all that. I think he can really jump up a lot. And the Wizards could have a pretty fun team with Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole as their backcourt. They're not going to stop a lot of guys. The defense could be very, very bad. Probably will be very, very bad. But the offense would be fun to watch. They could also have Denny Avdia out there, whether that they want to run him at the 3 or the 4. Daniel Gafford can be out there running center. Not a lot of defense being played, but the offense could be fun. It could be a fun, entertaining, like high-scoring, rebuilding team. Then add on the fact that they got Danilo Gallinari and Mike Muscala, both guys that could very easily be flipped at the trade deadline in this season. You know, maybe they play them a little bit, build up their value. Stretch bigs are always needed in the NBA. So hopefully these guys can, kind of give them a little bit more back from this whole reset that they're doing on their franchise. Maybe it's a second, maybe it's a first, maybe it's just some random young guy. Who knows? Hopefully that can really just help build their asset pool up a little bit though. And finally, for the grades of each team involved in this trade, we're going to start off with the Celtics. And I gave them an A on this trade. They get an all-star caliber player. They get to bring him into the team and let him be the third option. Not many teams have an all-star caliber player as their third option on their team. They also get draft capital back and only gave up Marcus Smart and a second-round pick. You really can't get much more value than that. For the Grizzlies, I'm going to give it a C+. Like I said, I think Marcus Smart's going to be able to come over there and make them a better team defensively, his playmaking and stuff like that. But I don't think he's 2 first-round picks better than Tyus Jones. Like I said, Tyus Jones is the best backup center. Wow, I'm going to say backup center. Tyus Jones is the best backup point guard in the NBA. And they traded for Marcus Smart, who was probably going to be their backup point guard. And they also gave up 2 first-round picks for it. Doesn't really make sense value-wise for me. And then for the Wizards, I'm going to give them an A-. I really do like the Tyus Jones pickup for them. Way better than the Marcus Morris that they were originally going to get in the Clippers trade that kind of folded apart. But I really like Tyus Jones for them being their starting point guard. They also get really high, I don't want to say high value, but high upside value players in Gallinari and Mike Muscala. This is just way more than what you get in an average sign and trade, in my opinion. So, gotta give them a high grade for it. How do you guys feel about the Wizards' full reset and just acceptance in the rebuild? Me personally, I think they're doing a pretty good job. Their hands were tied on a lot of these guys. They were cornered into tough situations, and they're making the most of it, at least in my opinion. Leave in the comments down below what you guys think they're doing so far. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave it a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there'll be links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.